My dear friends, some of you know that I have very special relations with the Jews of Toronto. I have a family in Toronto. And know our grandfathers were together in the Russian Empire. And then one of the brothers, at the time of big pogroms at the beginning of the century, went to Canada. The other stayed in this Russian Empire, which turned into the Iron Curtain of Soviet Union. And for years, we grew without knowing one another, without having any context. And then when I was already Jewish activist and was in prison, and my wife, Avital, started traveling all over the world campaigning for my release, one of our relatives convened his family in Toronto and said, look, Sharansky must be our relative. Look at him. He's short, he's bald, he has such thick lips, exactly as my father, and he's Sharansky. So, and they invited Avital, and that's how, after 70 or 80 years, the connection was restored. And not only restored, my family, and then their synagogue, and then many other Jews of Toronto, and then of course, the great lawyer Irving Kotler, they all were mobilized and became part of this global struggle for Soviet Jewry. So, in fact, it's very symbolic. It's not only that our family, two second uncles, rediscovered one another. It was like Jews of Canada, Jews of America, discovering for themselves their brothers in the Soviet Union. And we Jews of the Soviet Union were discovering that we have global family. And that's how we all became part of this huge struggle. And who could believe that the most powerful empire in the world will have to open the gates, will have to bring down the Iron Curtain, and will disappear from the earth. And it all started from the fact that there were a few hundred Jews in the Soviet Union who rediscovered their identity. And then there were a few thousands of American, Canadian Jews who rediscovered their family. And we all start fighting together. It has to remind us how strong we are when we remind to ourselves about our family, about our history, about our roots. And look, today we all have one huge challenge, the anti-Semitism, which seemed like disappeared from this world, is coming back. And we in the Soviet Union, it was so obvious for us, this hatred toward Jews and hatred toward Israel is all the same. Whenever there was some anti-Zionist campaign, every Jew felt insecure, and vice versa. But we grew in the Soviet Union in the shadow of this great communist future for all the people, that the oppressed class of proletariat revolted against oppressors, capitalists, and as a result, we are creating one classless society where everybody will be equal, where there is no nations, no religions, no states, but we all are one family. And all this nonsense under these great slogans of nonsense, millions and millions and millions were killed. And any independent thought was erased. And we really had to have some courage and enough sechel, understanding, intellect, to understand what a nonsense all these progressive theories are, and that, yes, we want to have our freedom, and we want to have our identity, and we cannot defend our freedom without our identity, and we have to stop this nonsense about the world without religion and without nation. That's the world that that's how dictators want to control the people. And so we defeated it, we won. Communism was dead. And then suddenly it's coming back in the form of this new so-called progressive theories that the world is all is oppressors and oppressed are always right, and oppressors are always wrong. And of course, Jews and Israel are on the wrong side of history. They are among oppressors, And of course, anti-Semitism is not even racism because it's hatred of white against white, so it's not counted. And a lot of all this nonsense is sold to us as a new future for the free world where there will be no nations and no religions and no oppressors and no classes. So let's remember, the world will be free only if we will be very strong in our determination to fight for our freedom and very strong in our identity. Our roots, our family, our nation, that's the source of our strength in struggle for freedom of everyone.